Good morning, happy Monday, hope you're great. Welcome to Getting on Track with me, Nathan, and from It's Good to Talk, and we have a special guest today.
Hi.
Hi, this is Louise Gustafson. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Gustafson.
That's good,
yeah.
so straight off, I've done well.
Yeah,
It's not like I've been practicing or anything, you
know. It's a mouthful, like, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good name though, right? It's like, can't mistake
powerful
you.
Name.
Yeah, powerful name, I like that. Today we are going to be talking about Sarah and your life, right?
Yeah.
She's an artist, creative wellbeing practitioner and teacher, an all-round great person. And we're going to be talking about Sarah's sort of track, asking lots of questions, and I think it'll be a good one today. I like it.
Yeah.
If you want to get involved on the live right now, then I've got my tablet here. Just comment away on the Facebook page. And then later on, we'll be putting out another version on the completed version on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So if you're watching that, welcome to you as well. So basically, camera-wise, so this one here, that's the YouTube one. And then the one at the back there, that's what's doing the live one.
Yeah.
So, I hope you're all right this morning. And if you're not, don't forget that it can change really, really quickly. Yeah. And it might be down to you, just doing a little something, just pushing yourself, however that is. Or it could be somebody else. And maybe you're going to make somebody else's day that little bit much better,
Yeah.
Before we get going, I want to say about what's coming up soon. This month, we're in June now, aren't we?
Yeah, June today.
Of June, yeah.
My best friend's birthday today.
Oh, nice, okay.
Yeah, happy birthday, Jess.
Happy birthday, was it Jess, you said? Happy birthday, Jess. So this month, we've got coming up Tributes on the Hill. So Tributes on the Hill, do you know that?
No.
So it's in Frodsham, and it's a 3-day music festival. But it's all tribute acts, so it's they've got people like Oasis and Robbie Williams, all different ones, right? But they're good quality ones,
Oh, yeah.
So it's like a family sort of thing, and we love it there. We have a drop-in tent, so we go and we pitch a gazebo.
Amazing.
And then we have seats in there, and people can just come in. And it's at the end of this month, 28th, 29th, 30th.
Oh, we'll come.
And, that'll be cool.
Yeah,
and it's like a really good festival. It's got great entertainment as well, and food and all that. Food is amazing,
I'm there. As soon as you mention food, I'm like,
yeah, sold. So we've got that coming up at the end of this month. If you want to go along to Tribs, if you haven't got tickets, there are still tickets available. They do camping and glamping and day tickets as well. And also, if you're local in the Frodsham area, they do a free bus which goes back from the festival down to the town. If you want to be involved with us on that, if you want to support us in any way, then please get in touch. We've got our men's group this week, Thursday, in Frodsham as well. That's 7 till 9, Cash 22, the propaganda room. I think they're one of our champions, Cash 22. But quick mention for number 5, the Barbers, another one of our amazing champions. And also a quick shout out to, we're starting a dad club soon. I
love that.
So a big shout out to any dads in the area, the Halton area, Runcorn, Widnes, anywhere close by, really.
Liverpool.
Yeah, it's not far, is it? It's only like a couple of stops away on the train as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's literally 20 minutes.
And we're doing it at the station here as well, which is where we are today, in the community lounge at Runcorn Station. So dads, whatever age your kids are, from adults to teenies, then if you're up for coming and having a chat, please get in touch. We're going to be starting that soon.
Or even dads that have maybe lost a child.
Yeah, anybody. Yeah, good point that.
Yeah,
good
or
point.
stillbirth, or any of that.
Yeah, any dad is valid, really. Quote. So we have a quote. Every show,
yeah.
So I put you on the spot this morning, didn't I?
And
I said you might your quote, and actually the quote you said is one of my favourites as well.
It's the truth, though, isn't it?
It
keeps me going massively when things are hard.
Yeah. Because with having been there, it helps to get that across to other people as well, doesn't it? Because you can sort of.
I think for me, it's like, what's the point in their meeting if there's nothing good that's coming? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that there is always going to be something good that comes, because everything that goes up must come down.
Yeah.
And everything that goes down must come up. So I think there's always going to be better days that are coming. Like it's inevitable.
Yeah.
And you've got to keep reminding yourself of them.
Yeah. It's
and you won't get to experience them.
Hard though, isn't it?
It's so hard, yeah.
And that the quote that some of the best days of your life haven't happened yet. I think that it's one of those that if somebody is in the place where they're hard to see, and you can really sort of, in a minute, I've got to think about it, and you can push yourself, then I think it's a great quote.
I think it is. I think it's put your mindset completely in the future, not in a negative way, in a complete positive way. And it reminds you that, there's hope. It's hope, isn't it? That's what the quote is. It's a hopeful quote. think that's what we need more than anything when we feel down.
Right,
is some form of hope that it's going to improve, or that circumstances are going to change, or that there's going to be a purpose for you, for me, or for any people that we love, and for our lives to go. So yeah, I love that quote myself.
Do you think it's like one of the hardest parts of when you're in that place and you're in like the pit? The hope is really hard to see, isn't it?
I think when you're in a really bad place, I know for me, I've been in horrendous places in my past. It's almost like you're defeated, aren't you? And you're depleted in terms of you've tried so hard with every tool that you possibly have, and you might not have the most healthiest. You might be drinking, you might be, but you're trying with all the tools that you have, and they're not working. And it's like it's the whole hopelessness of nothing I'm doing is working, and what else is there left? Is it always going to be like this? And the brain very much makes us think this is it, and this is the way it's going to be forever, but it won't be.
It's pretty amazing, really, isn't it? Because we talk about this a lot with It's Good to Talkers, how in that moment, and what you just said about the brain, it's pretty incredible, really, how, and I find it like magical.
Same. I'm obsessed.
It's that you can be totally in that moment, and all you can see is black and dark, but then it can just take something really just like a chink of light from somebody. I remember going back a few years ago, and I was at the crossroads in Frodsham in the car. I was just really stressed out at the time. I was in a bad place, wasn't happy at all. And then this guy just stopped his car where he didn't have to at all. He was at the right away, and he stopped his car in the middle of the crossroads and just went like that with a big smile on his face, letting me go. And it just stopped me. You know what I mean?
Put you in your tracks.
In that moment, it was just, oh wow, that guy's just stopped, smiled, and just little things like that. And that's we talk a lot about the ripple, and having that effect on each other.
Definitely, and I think there's a science behind it too, and this is the part that I love too as well. We're having a company dopamine rooms, the dopamine response. You've just been acknowledged, you've just been seen. You know, that releases dopamine in your mind. You've just been in the present moment. You were in your head, you were watching that man smile and wave, therefore your thoughts were in the moment, therefore your dopamine's releasing, your oxytocin's releasing. So it's about recognising too the science behind it, and thinking, oh, okay, if I can be in the present moment and that makes me feel like that, let's push and do things like that a bit more. But as well as knowing that the doing of that helps us too. The fact 100%. That I smile and wave at someone, even if I don't want to, it helps me. Do you know what I mean?
It's the funny thing. It was when I found out about the smiling part of it, when you talking about that, for me it's a really interesting subject. And when there was a couple of things with the dopamine side of it, it was sort of like, whoa. And one of them was about the smiling and making yourself smile and the effect it has on you, right? And the other one was that it was to do with your memories and visualizing. So when if you've got a happy memory and you think of that place, and then you get the bonus, the happy hormone boost from it, right? But then how your brain doesn't care that whether it's real or not, and you can imagine. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's powerful. That.
But you can go back then and alter your reality almost, can't you? So like, look at the trauma and things that we've actually been through that we remember and that scars us. We can go back in our own minds, in our own meditation state or whatever, and rewrite what's happened and make ourselves have a better time. And that's what psychologists and counsellors and therapists kind of make us do, isn't it? In a way, relive to rewrite.
You find it incredible, like I do.
The brain's so powerful. It's literally a computer. It's whatever you feed it, wherever it runs, isn't it?
It's like listening. The amount of what you've just said, the amount of times I say that is awesome. And I think I love the fact when you're sitting having a conversation with somebody and you sort of both get something. I love that. I think it's going to be a good one today.
I love quantum physics and quantum mechanics, and I'm obsessed with the mind, and so definitely I think it's going to be a good one.
Let's start off with, so if you remember I said to you about track, so I wanted to start off really with going right the way back. Where are you from? Where were you brought up?
Liverpool. Like quite central, like West Derby ways. Just typical. Say, it was working class, but my dad was ill, so he did work for a bit, but then he never. Council estate. It's nowhere or places where I'm from. Absolutely love it. I would change for the world.
What were good growing up in that place? Was it sort of did you have a lot of friends around, like where you lived? And I'm talking about sort of early childhood, really, at the moment. You know,
so between what?
Up to 10, maybe.
Up to 10.
Yeah. Like primary school age and stuff.
Yeah, I think I got picked on when I was little, like that age. I think it was harder for me to make friends. But I was undiagnosed with autism and ADHD too. Yeah. So, you know, obviously there was things going on where I was a naughty child to people, or I was, you know, disruptive, or I wasn't invited to kids' parties, and I felt that, you know, like as a child psychologically. Yeah. I kind of.
So did that make you feel like odd one out sort of thing?
Yeah, definitely, massively. And yeah, I think, you know, when you're a child and you don't really know why you behave in certain ways, you're just doing it and you keep doing it. Yeah. You just keep saying sorry for not, and you don't know why. It messes with your self-esteem, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So yeah, like there was a lot of family not understanding me. I'd say family, they're not my family, but you know, the blood-wise they are, and I'd say a lot of trauma around that. Yeah. Of, you know, being rejected from, you know, as I said, not being invited to parties, or always being the naughty one, or and I think I'm lucky that I've got my mum and my dad who literally had my back no matter what, and like reinforced that so much as they did.
Yeah. Reinforced in what sense?
In terms of, if you're not invited, none of you are going to the party, because we've got a little brother and a little sister. Right, okay. I've got like.
So you mean that when you were a kid, people would invite
my brother
siblings,
and my sister? Yeah, and
that would make you. Oh, geez, even like
even like my cousins, like that were like, say cousins again, it's all blood, they're not really. They were like a year or so younger than me. Like I was too old to go to their party, by the way. Do you know what I mean? I'm not bringing stuff up from the past. Like there's no bad blood right now. You know, it's fine. But I'm just, as a child, you pick up and feel these things, don't you? But even like my mum lost their mum and dad when she was 27. I was 5 in a month. So even that trauma from a child, you know, seeing what death can do. I lost my granddad when I was 7. So around 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, I'd seen what death can do, how it can destroy someone, how can, you know, my mum was obviously never the same ever again. You know, she had 2 young babies, you know. So I think I'd subconsciously grew up a bit as well, without realising it. Not grew up because obviously I was still behaving like loon, but I don't like that term, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so I think I just grew up quite fast, to be fair.
Like emotionally sort of thing?
Yeah, well, I say grew up fast. I mean, I probably wanted to make sure my mum was okay a bit more than a normal 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old man, would.
So, catching on to that a minute then. So, are you quite empathetic? Have you always?
Yeah, massively.
As a child?
I think it massively helps my job. I feel like I can almost feel people's emotions. Might be because I used to think when you're autistic, you've got kind of a superpower, and like you do pick up on cues, even though you don't pick up on big ones. Say, you know, like someone could be blatantly angry, and I'm just like oblivious. But there can be little changes in someone's behaviour that I'll get onto really quickly because of patterns that I see in people, and I think that definitely, you know, experiencing loss and stuff from a young age and seeing what I can do to my family and stuff like that, would have definitely, you know, enhanced that empathy and sympathy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But she's the most strongest, powerful woman I'll say that I've ever met in my life, and like she's just every bit of strength that I owe is to them 2 people in my life, because they are the strongest people. Like, not even just saying it, they've genuinely been through so much, and they're amazing.
There's a lot of love coming.
Strength in my mum and dad. Like my dad's ill, like, you know, he's on dialysis now. He's had 3 transplants. You know, growing up he was sick, and he never failed again until I was 17. But he's battled through, like he's still battling through now. And my mum has said like there's a lot of mental trauma in terms of losing a mum and dad so fast, and such a 27, 2 young babies in a month. You know, like there's just been so much that they've both dealt with, and as I said, like I'm just a small credit to them, because the strength that they've got is definitely pushed upon me in some capacity, because I'm still alive as well. My story's heavy too. But yeah.
When you said about superpower, if you think back to a long time ago when you said you can pick up on cues and the empathy and everything, you know, that if I often think back to sort of a long time ago, you know, hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago, with humans who were like this, and how much needed people were in that sense, to be able to sit and listen to people and be empathetic and all that sort of stuff. And I'm very much with the superpower part of it.
100%. I think everyone's got a superpower. Every single person. I think just our society can label almost autistic or ADHD as not normal. But there's two brains. There's neurodiverse brain, there's a neurotypical brain. I'm neurodiverse, other people will be neurotypical. And just because I'm neurodiverse doesn't mean that I've got these like on paper traits that the society might label that I have. I'll have a few of them, like other people will.
Yeah, it's like a tick box.
Yeah, but my personality will be completely different. Like people go to me, "You're not autistic," and I'm sorry, I haven't got my autistic dress on today. Do you know, like I am now, but it's my own way in terms of how it displays itself in me. In terms of having an eye for detail. Having seen things outside the box, like from things in line and structures. Very literal. But then also recognising patterns really well.
It's funny how what you said about your personality. I love that you, and that's what often gets lost, isn't it? That people do, like you said, it's like this label. This is what I, based on the knowledge, I expect this of somebody. I've got a friend who, his name's Paul. He's been on here before actually, and he's now got Korsakoff syndrome, which is a dementia, right? And he's very open about it, talks about it a lot, and he talked about it on the show as well. But growing up, he was dyslexic. I'm sure he's. We talked maybe ADHD as well, but he's in his 50s,
Dyslexia is in the family for ADHD.
Yeah, so he, but growing up, he had suffered a lot of at school, you're rubbish, you're this, and labels and all this sort of thing. But he says that he really appreciates now, as he's older, like how his brain works. He actually became a nuclear engineer, and that helped him in his role, that he was able to see things like this. So primary school age then, right? You sort of, it sounds like you were really analysing life as well and all the things that were going on, how was the school life? How was it at school at primary age?
It's hard to go back so young. I think it gets more exciting a bit older. But I think I had friends and stuff. Jess was my friend in time.
Oh, wow.
I did used to struggle with keeping friends rather than making them. I'd make friends, but it was hard for me to keep them because I probably wouldn't understand when kids would say no. Like, this is my way. Like, why don't you want to play this game or whatever? I wouldn't say I had loads of love around me. I think the difference is that I felt lonely in terms of when I look back now, being a neurodiverse child in a neurotypical world, with no form of clue at all what was going on, why things were happening. I was in school, I'd say I was more well behaved till I got home. And then I think the mask would slip, like girls mask so well. And I'd learned to do that. And then my mum would say it'd be like the Tasmanian devil, like she could see what type of person I was coming through the gates. And I'd launch my bag and
like, get ready.
I'd be ready,
She's coming back.
And my mum would get it, like, and it's not fair, sorry mum. But she was my safe blanket at that time, and like it did continue. It still does, to be honest. Where she's not going to leave me, is she? She's my mum. That's type of feeling. So,
but that's what you just mentioned there, though, that safety part. It's really important, isn't it? That, like, as a child, that you've got that you feel so safe with that person. That you are able to just let the mask go and just let everything go and just be yourself, right? And it's hard as a parent, though, to see that sometimes. I
think it's when you say be yourself. I think it was a version of me that was really frustrated and really hurt from masking all day, and no one picked up on it. So my mum would be like, "Why have you come home and been like that when you've been lovely all day?" And obviously it's difficult for her to understand. It's not now, but it must have been difficult for her to understand my behaviours and why I was being like that. And but I still give it up to them in terms of my mum and dad were almost like, if I was grounded, I was grounded. There was no leeway in it. I was grounded, and that was it. Probably grounded all the time, but no, I wasn't. But that,
you're still grounded.
I'm still grounded now. No, I'm not. No, I wasn't. But that for me taught me boundaries and taught me I need structure. I need black and white. Like, if you blur them lines, especially to a child, I'm going to push you and push you and push you and push you. So the fact that when I was grounded, I knew it was grounded. I'd kick off, but I was staying in. And it was a harder job for me mum and dad keeping me in. Like, it was hard. Like, if anything, it was easy for me to get out. But I do think that is a really good look when I look back. Like, even though they wish they would have understood more and been able to see what was going on a bit more. I do believe that that's taught me so much, though, and it's benefited me so much. Like, my brother's neurodiverse too, and the both of us have done really well, and we're doing really well. And where we're from, you know, statistically people that go to university and don't do all these things, and it's, yeah, I do believe it's a lot of credit to that, is the way they know men now. They were, do you know what I mean? Like it was very much sticking to what they said, and and I think that's that important, isn't it? Now,
of course,
in our society as well.
So when you so after primary school, then high school is often, you know, for people it's life changing, right? How was what was your high school experience? How did it change you as a person? You
know, I think just in comparison to baby school, I was more like in all the school plays when I was little. Like I was more like Rudy Salt. I was the lead in all the roles, and I'd love it, and I'd thrive. But when I went to secondary school, I wouldn't do. And I'm a bit gutted now when I look back, because I'm a bit like, I could have, even though my passion, my dream is art. So I followed it, my first love. And I know there's a lot more talent in there that I never executed because of embarrassment and like anxiety and judgment. And my weight was always something I struggled with, and I always got picked on for being a bit overweight and a bit. So I think body shame and stuff and body issues and bad eating habits disorders and stuff developed for me in secondary school more. In terms of going up and down, watching what I was eating all the time, and you know, being obsessed with scales and like. So I think that was always a big thing in the back of my mind. But I think in terms of the really positive side of my life is that I had good friends that knew me, and Jess was in secondary school with me as well. And I was clever, and you know, as much as I struggled, I did have fun times, and I could cope in environments. I think art was a massive credit to that. I think when I picked my options, my life was easier, you know. I picked BT creative art, and then I picked art, drama. Everything was creative, so I was more at home in me expression. But I think the negative side of it, I had bad OCD, like horrendous. I developed it. I'd say from the age of 13, 14 onwards, it was the worst it's ever been, and it was intrusive thoughts, and it was really bad thoughts. It wasn't like, you know, your little thoughts. It was like, you're a murderer, you're a paedophile. And I say this now and in this life because there's so many people who think like this, and so many people have these horrible thoughts, but it's not you. When I was young, I was convinced I was a bad person. I was convinced I was evil, I was bad. Why am I thinking like this? I was convinced I must subconsciously be this monster, and that stole so much of my happiness that it was unbelievable, because it would always be in the back of my head, like the thoughts popping in and me trying to ignore it and push it away. It's only now that I'm older, I know that's the complete opposite of what you're meant to do. If anything, I was feeding it, I was making it worse, and it was this big cycle. But yeah, I did have so many happy memories, friends, you know. Obviously there was fights in school, you know, there was fights, there was physical fights. I think when I was like 14 as well, was when I had my first like fight. Someone had been picking on me for a while. And it's all child stuff now. If they're watching this, like it's just kids stuff. It doesn't mean nothing. Like fine with them, they're fine and amazing now. But I learned very early on that you only have to whack someone dead hard. They leave you alone. That's the most unhealthiest thing to learn. Can you imagine being autistic and getting picked on and not understanding like what's going on in your environment, just learning a coping strategy that fast, like you just have to lash out once, if it leaves you alone. That's something I took then up until I was like 18, 19, and I was acting out in that way, and that was so unhealthy, so unhealthy, because I'd feel threatened or I'd feel like, and I'd just lash out completely. And it worked for a lot of my life, but then it never, because obviously I'm a teacher. You know, I'm so lucky that I am, you know, because I went completely the opposite way. I was never ever a bully. I can honestly say that. Ever once hit, like lashed out at somebody that, like for the sake of it. It was almost like when someone was owing me for a while, you know, or it'd build up, and then I'd just go. And I always say, like, the beast's not dead, but it's tamed. Do you know what I mean? And I think you need it in you to cope and to live your life. But I learned that really, really unhealthy strategy as well. That saved me in some senses, but that was massively a downfall in others. But I always talk about unhealthy coping strategies.
Well, because you haven't got the knowledge at that point, have you?
No.
Coming back to when you said a couple of things there. One was about the body shaming, the weight side. Mm-hmm. The other one was about intrusive thoughts. And I think something I've realised, as adults, the majority of people, I think, really don't sort of get thought side of it, you know.
Yeah.
And something that I talk about a lot is the not being responsible for your thoughts, you know. And I think it's really difficult for people, isn't it, in general, to without an understanding, to just, for example, when we do a men's group, you know, and sometimes you encounter somebody for the first time, and for somebody to just, the moment that you realise that just because you have a thought, it doesn't make it true, doesn't make it real, and all this, it's life changing, right? It was for me.
Same.
And then when you said about the weight part of it, I was having a conversation recently about it seems to have started, like the weight thing. There seems to have been sort of almost like a pattern that I remember. My mum's in her 70s now, yeah, and my ex, her mum's in her 50s, and we were sat down a couple of years ago talking about scales and talking about how this sort of obsession with, it's not about health. It wasn't ever about health. It was always about
the number,
weight and diet and scales, right?
The number.
So then we were thinking, well, in a minute, when did it start? One thing that we came up with was magazines, and like magazines. When my mum was younger, and when I was a child growing up, and then my ex's mum as well, magazines were huge, women's magazines, and then it's constantly on about weight. It's constantly on about losing weight for the summer. Yeah. It's constantly on about all this sort of stuff. But it's really damaging, isn't it? Really
selling weight
for children as well.
It's selling happiness with the body. Yeah. And I think you can be happy no matter what you wear. You can be happy no matter what you look like.
Yeah.
Like, happiness does not depend upon that at all. I think it used to sell. I'm not saying it stopped, because obviously Instagram's huge now, and I'd say that's one of the, for young girls, it's so money in now. Yeah. I think for weight, when I was growing up, it was the whole size 0 phase that was out. It was the whole, you know, catwalk model, and I don't, you know, slander anyone for any weight, 0 or not. You know, +6. I've done plus size modeling, and I still do. But that was the glorification of being beautiful to me. And my body does not look like that.
It's saying this is the way to be, right? And it's not their fault, is it? The models, it's not getting at the models.
No,
it's getting at the industry.
The industry.
And the people doing it.
When I was younger, I was convinced that that's what was beautiful. You know what I mean? But my body, no matter, like, I've been like nearly like 10 stone and 16 stone before, and hated myself at both. It was all an inside job. It was all inside. I've got a little podcast called Inside Job as well. And it literally was. But even when I was like skinny, you know, thinner, I was never thin. I was never like that. And I'm quite tall, so I was skinny, but I didn't look like that, because I've got big hips and I've got a different shape, and that wasn't sold as being beautiful. So automatically, because my shape was different, it was like, I'm fat. But I wasn't. I really wasn't. Look back, I wasn't. Do you know what I mean?
And then when you put these things together, right, and you put the neurodivergence, and you put the
OCD,
analytical part, all these things together,
obsessive thoughts about it.
Then it's a big battle that you're fighting.
There was I had on my mum and dad, an amazing, I've got a gorgeous, loving little family, right, and I'm so grateful for them. But I was traumatized in my mind for most of my childhood from my own self. Traumatized out with my own thoughts. The rituals I'd do, the things I'd do, the things I'd carry out, and it carried on till I was in university, some of them, you know, and having all them years of mental anguish and being, you know, your nervous system being shook every day causes even more mental health. So then depression, anxiety started. As I said, like binge eating disorder went through the roof. I just eat when I was down, to the point I wasn't hungry. I'd just be trying to fill a void. And then I'd hate myself for days. And that's only recently like started to be a little bit more calmer, to be honest.
Was it often related with anxiety as well, did you?
Yeah, I think.
To sort of feel, because we had a friend recently, I was in the men's group, and he was talking about how it's a crutch for him. So when he feels anxiety coming on, his focus then is going, I'm going to eat something. I
don't feel like I had a conscious thought of it. I think I lack dopamine. I think a lot of people on the spectrum or neurodiverse have got like lower dopamine levels. That's why we're more vulnerable to being an addict or you know, getting into unhealthy coping strategies, because dopamine can come from good and bad things. Dopamine gets released when I eat. I'm made up, love it. So it was just the chase of that, I think, for me. You know, the constant searching for happiness through, and I think that's a sad thing as well. Like every time I kicked off when I was younger, I was just trying to get happy. You know, I was because whether I'm getting shouted at or praised, dopamine releases in my mind, and I've learned that as a teacher now. Sometimes children, when they're playing up, they're just trying to be happy because their dopamine levels are low, so they want to get shouted at to make them have that little boost. But then the self-esteem shook after it because they're getting shouted at. It's not for the good reason. You can't help it because they're getting a little fix from it to feel a little bit better, but they still, and the self-esteem getting lower. So it's like, and I think that's what happened a lot for me. I was getting told off all the time. I was eating all the time. And I started drinking as well. And I was like 16, I'd say 17, and that spiraled massively out of control. So yeah, I think I was seeking for the release and the happiness and a release from the mind as well, from the chatter, and I was running from it all the time. I kept running and running. Where now I've got my own courses, my own things I teach, and it's about looking at it and sitting with it and taking the power out of it. Just painful, but I always thought about the bully after school. Watch after school, gonna have a fight with you. Watch all day. Feel sick. Be worried sick. They're gonna batter me. Everyone's gonna watch her, and you're ill, aren't you? You feel so sick. And it's more traumatizing than the actual fight. Or, you know, you go for the fight and you go, come on, then they go, I'm only messing. Or they go, well, we'll have a little squabble, you get split up, or, you know, or it doesn't happen, you know. But the actual event's nowhere near as traumatizing as the process that builds up to it. And that's what it's like for me with the thought. The more you run, it's the process, it's the avoidance of the thought. It gets powerful, the thought gets like armor and it gets stronger. The minute you turn around, go on then, let's have a fight. It's thoughts. You go, oh, we're messing.
But I'm really glad you brought that up, because it's something that I found in life is that, in general, and I did this for a lot of my life, it's like, and you hear it so much as, oh, I don't want to think. I do everything to stop myself thinking.
It's the opposite. That makes it better, though,
isn't it? 100%. But I, like you just said, I totally understand why it's difficult for somebody to face up to those things.
But we're almost scared of the pain, aren't we? We're preventing the pain, but what we're doing is prolonging it, but giving it more power. So when we do get forced to face it, because we will, whether we like it or not, it will hit you.
It comes out some way, right?
It will come. And it's like, do you want to do it with low ammo? So you can kind of win your fight, or do you want to put loads of armour on it, bullets on it, everything, because it's ready then, because the more you run, the more it knows that you're scared of it. I know it's mad to think of it like that, but it's so true. It's a
really good way of thinking.
Your thoughts get so powerful. I teach these type of techniques when you avoid it. When you turn around, it is a bully, it goes completely cuts in half, pain half. It's still there, you still feel it, but it's in half. And then you look at it again and it's in half. Because your thoughts trigger feelings, your thoughts trigger emotions. So, but then when you start to identify that you're not your thoughts, your brain runs off fear. So for instance, the paedophile saga that my brain kind of went through, I had a little brother who's like 9 years younger than me, and my dad wasn't well, and my traumatized fear was anything bad happening to him. It's the worst thing that could happen to him, probably that. So my brain goes, oh, let's play with this then. You're scared of this? I've got you. You're this, you're that, you're a paedophile, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's so clever, the mind is.
Yeah, it is incredible.
It's so clever.
But in the sense that the incredible nature of it is also what can. I see it like a pendulum almost, or like a seesaw, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like what you feed. I think you said about that before. And what you feed is what you get. So I've said this a few times about. Have you heard that there's a Native American proverb or something?
Oh yeah.
And it's like this: the granddad sits down with the little boy. And the little boy's asking the granddad about life and all this, and he says, "Oh, there's inside us all there's two wolves. I've seen there's two bears."
I've got two wolves in my course.
Yeah, that's it. It's like whichever one you feed wins. Right? Yeah. And I think that's a really good way of somebody sort of understanding and getting it. Okay, right. So if I feed this side of it, and it is immensely powerful, right? And like you said before, it can. If that rules your life, because it did mine for a lot of my life.
It ruined my life for years.
It's horrendous, isn't it? Because you become that, don't you?
I think one thing that's helped me is I went to the doctors. I said goodbye to my mum and dad. No one knew where I was going. I packed a suitcase. It's really sad, to be fair. I thought I'm going to get locked up now. Got that bad. Get emotional, but I thought.
How old were you then?
About 18. I thought I'm going to get locked up now. But
what had built up to this?
So I remember mentioning a little bit to my mum, and obviously she was like, "Whoa, she's not trained in this. She doesn't know what's going on." And it was a bit nerve-wracking for her to think like that. So I just didn't really speak about it then, because I was a bit like, told me it's fine. She used to say to me, imagine you've got a little gun and you'd shoot them. And she's the cutest, honestly. But because I'd still had them and I didn't know how that it was normal or not normal or whatever, it was still confirmation to me that I was broke, or like that I was a monster, or there was something bad in me that was naughty, like that.
And you've been dealing with these thoughts for years.
Years. It was a build up every Christmas, every time something good would happen, I'd jump in and destroy it. Like I wasn't allowed to feel anything because it'd be like completely. But one thing that's really helped me so much is the educational side of it. Like your brain, basically our brains are trying to protect us even now. So my fear was, you know, I love my little brother so much and nothing could ever happen to him. So my brain's thinking of every solution and possible outcome that could physically ever to prepare me so it wouldn't happen. So it's on my side almost, even if it's not serving me. And when you can kind of, because people are against the mind. We're like, we don't want to think, we don't like our thoughts, we don't like ourselves, we hate our mental health. But it's really just trying to help us in a weird way survive whatever we're scared of. So if we start to identify our fears, then we can primarily see what's going on underneath everything. I've actually got a course on, I haven't started it yet, it's called How to Let Go of Fear, and I think that's the root of everything, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The fear is the root of everything.
Literally everything.
Everything, your thoughts, your bad thoughts.
But even if you take it on you look at the problems in society, you know, like the anger and hatred around, it's all based on fear.
Everything, fear, everything. And when we start looking at what we're actually scared of, so if I could give you, I could insult you, I could give you 2 insults, one of them a body and the other one wouldn't, because one of them you believe and the other one you don't. Like, I don't believe I'm stupid, I don't, I think I'm quite a clever person, so if someone goes, you're stupid, I'm like, whatever. But when I was younger, or even, you know, I struggle up and down, if someone says you're fat, oh my God,
because that's because inside you're
I
already struggling
that, but that's an indication to every single human out there, like that whatever you're triggered by is what you believe, so it's your job to see what that is, and it's your job to mend that bit. And not give your power away. I think what I try and teach is people to have power in themselves and to make sure that as much as we're going to doctors and going to all these places, which is okay and perfect, we need to ask for help, and like I highly recommend that we do that. It is also an element of taking responsibility for us though, to know that not everyone can fix us, but as long as we're open to try and heal ourselves alongside people who want to support us. Powerful.
Do you think it's almost like some people sort of look at it like a ship, you know, you're captain of your own ship or plane or driving, almost like the help side of it is essential, but what the idea really is to get the help for you to learn how to drive yourself.
That's it,
because like you said, I'm totally with you, like we're all in total, we have the capabilities to be in total control of who we are and how we, you know, the feelings and the thoughts, right?
It's not easy to control. You can't control your emotions. No. I think you can to a point, but I think it's more about not running from them, and you've got to feel to heal, haven't you? You've got to, and it's hard work. It's not easy. It's oh my God. And I always think, especially men, I say to men, like, what's more strong, you know, to sit with it on yourself, bottle it up, or to come to somebody and explain it. A lot more fear involved in that. It requires more strength to do that. You're a stronger person if you sit with yourself.
And it's life changing, isn't it?
Well, you're stronger to face yourself, to talk. It's stronger to open up. It's more, and we've got this stigma around, you know, being weak if we open up, and it's the complete opposite. Totally. You are the most strongest person to open up and to own how you're feeling and act as a, you know, even advocate for other people. It's strength. But going back to when I was 18, and when I went to the doctors with my suitcase and that, like I said, I didn't tell my mum or dad or anything, I just give them a kiss, and I remember thinking, I'm getting locked up now. And I remember going into the doctor's, I had a case with me, because I thought the Nino, siren's going to go off, and I was ready, because I thought, I can't live like this anymore. Lock me up, I'm a bad person, like lock me up. So I remember sitting there to the doctor, and I was hysterical and told them what I was thinking. I was literally ready to get handcuffed. I was mentally ready. I've said goodbye to everyone. That was my way of being safe, because I was a bad person. Imagine if I did this, and imagine if I did that, and, you know. And the doctor, I remember him just putting his hands on my shoulder and was like, and I'll never forget it. He went, if you was a bad person, would you be that upset about being a bad person? And I was like, oh. And he was like, if you was, you know, a murderer or a thief, all these things that I'm thinking, would you be that upset about being it, or would you be being it? And I was like, and I went, he said, this is just you in your mind being fearful of things. This is okay. We all have thoughts. We don't act upon them. And I was like, whoa.
And this was you at the GP?
Yeah, I remember thinking, I'm not getting locked up. Like, really? Don't get me wrong, they failed me in other ways to give me like loads of Prozac. I didn't need them. I had ADHD and autism undiagnosed.
But that having said that,
saved my life.
Yeah, those words, and that shows. You see what? what I always find is that how life can change in a moment, right? And you got that moment where you had the right words said to you, right? And obviously it's still down to you, isn't it? How you receive it.
It went in a bit, but it was a bit of the fact I never got locked up.
Yeah.
Whoa,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I was convinced. I went back home with my suitcase and I was like, put it back in the entrance. Hi, Mum. In my head, it was a big thing. And I speak about this now because they didn't know.
No.
It must break their heart to hear that. Do you know what I mean? Like that I was ready to get locked up, basically. But I also, that wasn't the end. Like that event spiraled worse in different ways. But it was the first time of seeing other people accept that it wasn't a bad thing as well. It was, but it's still a battle to deal with that and navigate them and to understand how to accept them almost and let them go. Like I think another technique I've got even now, because my intrusive thoughts are very much still there, but they're not powerful and when they're as powerful. I say them. I'm not afraid to go. My brain's saying this. Like I have my little nieces the other day, they're 6 months old, and my intrusive thoughts told me to put them in the bin. You know, like, and it's funny. Like now, it is like when my thoughts have just told me to put them in the bin, and my mum laughs her head off now because it's almost like I just say it because it's not true. It's just a thought.
Do you have Call with a Void? Have you heard of that one?
No.
I think statistically they reckon like 30-40% maybe of people. So Call with a Void is where you're up on a high place, maybe a balcony, whatever it is, and then there's an urge, and it's like just go. And it's like inside. It's not suicidal. It's not anything like that.
No, it's just to see what it would feel like. It's just pure.
It's just go.
That's why we watch serial killer documentaries, though, because we're trying to work out how the brain's very much ready to protect us at all costs. So it just needs to work. And the only way to protect us is to know the ins and outs of things, isn't it? So if I know how someone murders someone and I know how to solve it and I know how to, then if any of these patterns come about, this is the way the brain's working without me being conscious. I'll recognise that and I'll be able to stop him doing that to me or that person, and we become addicted with solving these things. So that's why our brains like jump, because a part of us is like, how does it feel? Don't jump, by the way.
Another one is like if you're on a boat or something, chucking a mobile, like holding your mobile phone. And
like, yeah.
But when you say about the brain, not everyone's brain works this way.
No.
This is very much a neurodivergence thing, isn't it? Like for a lot of it.
It can be, but I do feel like everyone gets thoughts like that. I think everyone I've spoken to certainly has had an element of a thought like that. The only difference is say my sister will go, oh, that was horrible, gone, absolutely no power. It's just the same thought as saying, oh, isn't that a nice cup? That's how much power that thought holds to her. It doesn't mean nothing. But to me, who's got low self-esteem and overthinks everything in minute detail, who has to solve everything, autistic, you know, I go, oh, that must mean I'm horrible. I give that thought power. Power, like so much power. She goes, oh. So the difference is some people don't even recognise it because it's nothing. It's a fleeting thing. That cup's nice, isn't it? I'm not going to remember that I thought that cup was nice in a year's time. That's not going to be a thought that's in my memory. Same as them when I had them like little plants nice, innit? You know, they'll have a thought that's that irrelevant for them, but to me it's like, terrible person I'm a. Oop, me mouth, sorry. I'm a terrible person, I'm a horrible person, it means this, it means that, but it doesn't. You got to sit with it. You've got, and another thing as well, like, kind of PTSD type of trick as well, because I've dealt with a lot of trauma, and again, it might work for everyone. I'm not a doctor, I don't, you know, it's just, I talk about what happens in my own life, and my own experiences and how I cope. I still do now, I go to my brain, like at 12 o'clock when you've got half an hour, traumatise me. Like, go on, traumatise me for half an hour, and it thinks of all the horrible things I know, and it pops stuff up, but it doesn't hurt me as much as when I'm, say, teaching and then a big graphic image jump into my head, or it's kind of like I'm taking my power back. I'm like, go on, you can do it now. And the brain, 90% of the time, goes, oh. It's like if you ask yourself, what am I thinking now? Like, what are you thinking now? Like, what are you thinking now? Like, what are you thinking now?
What am I thinking?
What are you thinking now?
I'm just listening to you.
You're not really thinking much, are you? Because you're in the moment. Like, your brain goes, oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. What are you thinking? I don't know. It stops because
receiving.
You don't think. And it's a bit similar to that. It's like when you go to your brain, go on, it goes, oh, what are you missing? Like, it's not powerful. There's no power in it. It takes out of it straight away. That's a really good thing. I really push talking about that. I've stood in rooms with, like, I've got men's mental health courses as well as women's ones and mixed, but I remember I had a man's particular course and there was men in there from like 65 to like 25. I remember the colour, like this to see a release in the whole body when I've got, my brain says I'm beautiful at times. what? Yours, yeah. Everyone's just
because people walk around with these thoughts
and
then
keep them to
themselves.
We would just tell that too. People are going to judge me, you know. Oh, it's a thought. It doesn't mean nothing. It's a fear response. You're never going to act upon it.
Yeah, we're all capable of really, really bad thoughts.
We're all capable of really bad things, but we're all capable of really amazing things as well.
Yeah, 100%.
It's all fear. Yeah. And it's just about recognising that even the girl in the yellow dress who looks like a banana can have these thoughts.
Looks like you definitely don't
look like a banana today. Can have these thoughts.
So what took you into doing the working as doing what you do? How did you what made you go down that road?
I'd say from the age of, got really bad about 23, 24. I was on Prozac. I was on 80 milligrams at one point, which is, it's called Prozac, but it was another type of, can't remember what it was called, but it was under that family. So I completely was numb. I was just numb. Yeah. I was like 16 and a half stone, I wouldn't come out of my room. I was self-harming religiously, eating disorders, suicide attempts. Like I say, it all like blunt and loose, but obviously there was so much trauma. I was drinking a lot. I was the most unhappiest. I've got a picture actually, I have to send you it if you want to put it on this, of like what I used to actually look like. You wouldn't recognise me. Not because of my weight, and that's not what the issue is. It's more for the unhappiness in my face. I was so unhappy. Domestic violent relationships, like it was just a ball of sheer toxicity and sheer desperation. I'm feeling so unhappy. And I remember getting a diagnosis of autism and then ADHD, but it took years to get. And it's autistic. I was like, nah, I'm not autistic. Like, I'm not autistic. No. Then the more I read about it, and the more I was like pedantic with like me, like other people collect stones and stamps, I collect clothes, but what girl doesn't? You know, like, so it was very hard for me to determine it. But when it was a case of it not being where it needs to be and me having a breakdown over it, and or like being so precious over me stuff like that, it was more noticeable. I think that's when it started. I went to a place called Ladders of Life in Liverpool, and I always big it up, you know, people to go to it. Autism ADHD organisation, it's amazing. Really done a 6-week course to learn about my ADHD and my autism, what it meant for me, and then started to give myself a break. But I was obsessed with it. Like for the next 4 years of my life, that's all I told everyone. I'm autistic, I've got ADHD, like, to be the first thing that jumped out of my mouth, because I didn't understand how I'd lived all these years without these two things being seen. And it kind of, people would say I got worse, but I felt like for the first time in my life I didn't have to try. I didn't mask. I just didn't want to talk. I didn't want to. And to give me some form of release in one way, but it was almost like a bit of an identity crisis as well, like figuring out what that meant, how it worked for me. But then I've done a lot of work, found meditation. I say work, I don't like that, because I think we've always got a job to do. It's never done. We're always evolving, we're always growing. Like, I'm not like healed now. There's still so much stuff that comes up for me now. There's always going to be. You know, it's about, we live almost for the destination, but it's the journey. I know that's really cheesy, but it's the truth. Like, we almost live for like, when I've lost that weight, I'll be happy, or when I've got that partner, I'll be happy, or but it's not even about that. It's like, be happy now on the way to these things. Be content with whatever it is now, the weight that you're on now. Like, you're never going to be happy in these places until you find it in this minute. 100%. And the only way you can do that is by being in the minute, I think.
Yeah, totally.
I've gone off track a little bit of what I was on about. Your ADHD.
I think that just before, because we were talking about how you were getting into it, but just what you're saying there, you know, like even something about what I realised was most of my life I'd not been appreciating the moment, and it is like, this is a societal thing, right?
I still do it now.
Constantly go into there. But I say to people sometimes, just go outside and just look at the sky, like look at the clouds, look at the birds, listen to the birds.
Mindfulness,
isn't it? All these things, you know, and just understand what you're doing in that moment. Because like you said, if you're constantly going for that next thing, you're never reaching anything, are you? There's no...
You know what one of the tricks is then? Is not making it a huge thing.
Yeah.
And I think, I used to think I've got to meditate for an hour a day. I've got to, and I don't. And I've done this thing with my friends, it was called Accountability April. We literally had a group chat. It was just my friends and a few close people. And we'd done I designed it to be the smallest of things. So it was standing with a pretend smile on your face for 20 seconds. Do that when you're like sitting, you know, like, and it would raise dopamine slowly. And the more you do these things, the more the brain remembers them as a pattern. So the more you go outside and look at the birds for... I'm sorry, my stomach, I'm hungry. The more you go outside and look at the birds for 10 seconds a day, 10 seconds, I've got to notice a bird a day, 10 seconds, the more the brain develops that much more stillness. That much though, and then over time it grows, and it grows, and it does. It is. It's people go, oh, shut up, you're messing. No, I promise you, it does.
Well, yeah, I totally agree.
It's the smallest of things, isn't it? And that's what I learned. Like I went to Buddhist monasteries. I'd be like, why have you got nowhere? And you're so happy. I'm so happy with all this. This is my mindset when I was younger. I'd watch how it was all unlearning.
Yes,
it was an unlearning process. It wasn't and I'm still unlearning now. Like I haven't got all the answers. Everything I teach is based off my life experience, even though I've got a master's degree and I've got all this work experience from mental health services and stuff. It's genuinely my life. Like I've been in psychotherapy, I've been in every form of mental health service the NHS could offer. Still am now, of certain things. I always believe there's areas that you need to pick and work on constantly, and we all get given, whether you drown in 2 foot of water and I drown in 20 foot of water, we're still drowning. Everyone's problems are relevant. Because people go, I haven't been through half of what you've been through, and it doesn't matter. Trauma's trauma.
It's relative, isn't it?
Well, I've recently learned when I was in some form of therapy, trauma's trauma. It doesn't matter what it is to the mind. Trauma to anyone's mind is still trauma.
Yeah, because it's relative to each individual person.
And I think it's important that we note that and talk about that and recognise that we've got a right to feel how we do. Own how we feel.
Well, that's why it's good to talk. See?
It's amazing to talk. I don't shut up.
But, just coming back, as I said about Buddhist monastery, there's a Buddhist temple down here.
Oh, amazing, really?
So it used to be, there was a TV show called 2 Pints of Lager and a Packet of Crisps, That was set just down here, just on the canal there, and it used to be a pub. Well, that was where it was set. And then a few years ago, this guy, Tony, top fella, he turned it into a Buddhist temple. So people come from all over the world to this Buddhist temple down here. And they're just having a peace garden built. But at 11 o'clock, I don't know if it's every morning, I know it's on a Saturday because I've been there. At 11 o'clock, you can just, or anybody can just turn up. If you want to take something, feel free, but they'll invite you in and they'll sit down, all have Thai food, mixture of, whatever you want, all around the table. And just, honestly, it's incredible.
I think I am one of them. When I start to get interested in something, I like to learn a lot about it. I like to experience it. So I think I started looking at meditation, where did it come from? And obviously Buddha's like a key advocate for that. I wouldn't say I was a Buddhist. Fascinated by the practices and why. I wouldn't say I'm a full, I wouldn't really identify as I'm this or I'm that, but 100% saves your life, meditation. Without meditation, I'd be dead. Without art, I'd be dead. Without creativity is the cure for depression, I believe. You find something, and creativity is not just drawing or painting or, it's having an idea, it's letting an idea grow. It's this podcast now, it's how you visualize this. This is your cure. If any form of creative process where you think things into existence or where you'll get a passionate excitement about something that's the biggest cure. And that's where dopamine rooms feeds into that.
So you were going into, you were saying about how you, where you started going into doing what you were now doing.
I went to Ladders of Life when I got diagnosed. I was in a horrendous place, the worst relationship, but started to learn about, that's ADHD. When I do that, that's my ADHD. And it was mad because I was kind of still doing the behaviours that were toxic, but then noticing them. And I've realised now, again, even in therapy now, even like to this day, there's things I need to still work on, but they're not going to be fixed like that. But just noticing it to start. Just noticing, I'm doing that thing again. Look, I'm doing it again. Doesn't mean I'm stopping it. I'm still doing it though. And then over time, you start to change it, don't you? Because you start to become more aware of what triggers it and why you're starting to do it. And I think noticing there's 5 core features to ADHD, but 2 of my biggest ones was impulsivity and procrastination, I'd say. So for me, being impulsive was the biggest detrimental, it was the biggest beautifulest skill I've got, but also, detriment in terms of my mouth as well. Throw anger in with me and make me upset when I was younger, and I'd be like, I wouldn't be very nice, but you just judge me off that version of me in that minute. Or, I've done all kinds, I'm trying to think of things I've done. Shark infested water, don't put your feet in, put your feet in, like things that you what has happened. It's more dangerous, I'd say, for ADHD, the whole, don't throw your phone in the water thing, because it's a bit more likely that you might. I've jumped out of moving cars that were going like 70 miles an hour. Well, I haven't jumped, I've tried. That was an over-exaggeration. Just putting yourself in dangerous situations out of pure impulse. And it's harder to manage. I always think my life's on a tightrope every day. I am managing it. And I'm quite good on this tightrope. I'm like an acrobat. I can march up and down and I can run, I can do flips. when life comes and you give me emotional heaviness, someone pings the rope. So the rope starts to swing back and forth. So I lose my balance at times, and I can't always stay on and perform and do all these things. And when I lose my balance is when impulsivity kicks in. It's when, for instance, I had an argument, one of my mates didn't really argue with her, and I've said horrible things to her not long ago, but I look back at it and thought, I've started to be in therapy a little bit again for other things, and this tightrope's getting swung here, so my impulses are a bit more, I say things that I don't mean, and I'm caught up in me moments. But I think giving myself a break for these things, you know, recognising that that's what's happening now, saying sorry, but being compassionate for myself. You know, you're not a bad person, say you're having a bad day or a bad time, and the tightrope's getting swung. You know, been through a lot the past year and a half. You know, I don't know if you want me to talk about it or not. I'm open book. I will. But the rope's been swinging, and I'm doing all right considering, because if I give this to the average person, they're not ever getting back on the rope. But I get back up every time, and it kills me, and I might have upset people or whatever. But it's about, I think that started me off on this journey. You know, I ended up chairing that group, and then I ran it. So I used to chair it for 40 adults then, and then I was doing my teaching qualification alongside that. I used to make a vlog of showing the realness on social media, because I was screaming out to be seen so much, even by my close immediate family, because as much as they obsessively love me and I love them, I'm different. I think different, and it's not and I can feel lonely because I can be interested in things they're not. They can talk about things to me, my brain can, like, you know, they fascinate them, like Emmerdale and stuff. And I don't know, I'm being like, it sounds like I'm being like,
no, just an example.
What's it called when you be a bit, it's not sarcastic or passive or patronising, like saying that that's bad. It's not, like, that's what you're interested in. But I'd be lonely in my own mental thoughts of not being able to sit there and waffle on about quantum physics or about this artist that done this and then done that, and look at the colours on that. And I think I've done a full-time art course. My mum and dad have always pushed me into doing what I love, and again, credit to them. They've never, I was really intelligent because I've done like law or, you know, but I was on fine art, graphic design, 3D design, photography, contextual studies, what else? All of them. There was another one. I'm trying to think. There's another one in there. And I'm trying to think, sorry, my brain. I've said textiles.
No, we didn't say
textiles as well. That's probably my least favourite, that's why I forgot it. I broke 72 needles in an hour, sent a bill to my mum, because I was like, so I'm more like hands-on designy. But anyway, and I was always encouraged to do it completely. So even when I went to uni, it was just art. And, you know, I had kids in my class and even friends at the time saying, what are you going to be? Like, what are you going to do? Like, you're not going to be an artist. And I was like, I am. And I am. I actually am an artist. And I've got a business built around it. And I think that's what's helped my mental health too. That was an outlet. My dad was ill. I'd draw my dad. I'd paint him with every single colour in his face. When he was ill, he had no colour. When he was getting better, he had all the colours. When his eyes would get turning yellow because you know, he's on dialysis, I paint it. It was a way I could talk about it, but I was actually breaking down. When I was going through my own mental health, I had projects where I'd paint myself in the mirror, but I had no face. Never had a face because they didn't know who I was. And people couldn't understand it, but it was genius when you look back because it was so symbolic to how I felt. It was almost like that was the art. Even if I could draw and I could do that, that wasn't important to me at all. It was the whole expression of the feeling. And I think that's what I try and incorporate in my teachings a lot as well.
So tell us about that then. So tell us about what you're
from all my life and all the stuff. I went to university and then I obviously got a master's degree in fine art, PGCE. I got done vlogs on mental health, and kind of all come together. I used to make videos of me in like panic attack states and paint them and freeze them so my face would be like, and find beautiful qualities in these vulnerable moments and like try and expose it because I was almost like at the end of I had nothing left. I was suicidal. Like I tried to take my own life a good few times, so I don't want to swear, but I had nothing left to like almost lose. So I'd just do the opposite of show you everything, like the vulnerableness of me panic attacks, sobbing online, but then I started to get loads of people like going, wow, I feel like that, and I realised there was so much power in that, so much power in that. And social media as well, like, you know, you see the couple, don't you, the perfect family and the perfect life, and And I'd be like that, looking like I was perfect on one picture, but behind closed doors, I was drinking a bottle of vodka and like losing me. Well, that's fair, but yeah. So, and then I started to look at, I'm fascinated by a spiritual teacher called Abraham Hicks. And it's a bit far-fetched, like you might actually understand what she actually says, and I'm not sure if I actually believe in the concept that she channels an entity and stuff like that, but actually what she actually says and how to look at life in a particular way really inspired me. And also quantum physics, quantum mechanics, how can a molecule know it's being observed? How can it change its form? That gave me some power back in my life, because there's more to life than just this. A molecule literally knows it's being observed and changes from an atom to a wave. It's got a mind, it must have.
It's incredible.
It's fascinating. And I'm made up of millions of them. So whatever I put my point of observation must be going to be coming to fruition. It doesn't happen overnight, because I made up millions and this is one. That's the law of attraction explained in a scientific, it's very basic scientific term. So all these little nuggets I kept putting together with my art and coping and getting better and falling. But I'd say alongside of the growth was trauma right the way throughout my life still, because then I was in a domestic violence relationship. And I say that I was not nice in that relationship too. I'll take some accountability for that. It was so unhealthy. It was one of the most painfulest times in my whole life. Feeling like trapped, almost like, I've said this recently, I'll die of believe and I'll die of stay. I'm getting emotional, but how do you, anyone out there knows in this situation, it's totally relatable, but how do you leave that? How do you, because I'll die of believe and I'll die of stay. Do you know what I mean? It was like, she stuck, and that was so hard. But everything I've learned is also backfired and give me power. It's like I've had a second life from it, from the learning alongside it. And it's almost like it floors me completely. But then there's something inside me that's like, I can't give up. And because better days are coming, and they always are, and they always are. And I'm living, like I always say to people, I am actual living proof of that. Like the story, I haven't even shared half of it, like of some of the stuff I've been through, but everyone's been through stuff. That's not me going, look at all the stuff I've been through. It's about me going, it does not define me. And it's so easy for us and me to fall into the victim mentality of like, everyone would understand if I was, alcoholic now. Everyone would understand based on my story of if I completely give up, it'd be seen acceptable. But I can't allow that, because if I sit into that victim mentality for myself, it doesn't feed me, it doesn't serve me. I've got to remember that I'm not a product of what's happened to me. I'm a product of what I do about it and who I choose to become from it. People want to hurt you, that's their crap, let them keep it. If people have come to you and hurt you, show it's not about you, it's about them. When you start separating yourself from that as well, I think, in terms of abuse in different forms.
And you now use your life to help other people, right? So you've used all those things to serve, right? So which is beautiful, by the way. So in your life now, then, so I know you do. Can you tell us a bit about what the AU Autistic?
Yeah, so AU Autistic is autistic and artistic put together, and it's dead scouts in it. AU Autistic? It's like a question. AU Autistic was my business is set up, and it's basically, I do loads of different things. The way my brain works, I need to be doing different things. So I do art workshops, I do children's messy plays, I do children's art, expression workshops, I do emotional release, I do just your typical crafts, but we have conversations about bullying, and art is a mental health tool, and it's not executed enough. Creativity is a mental health tool. It's not out there enough. It's not. And it is a form, like Einstein says, it's a form, it's a cure for depression, because it is.
Absolutely.
When you're being creative, you're being curious, and oxytocin, dopamine, and all these gorgeous hormones are releasing in your body. Curiosity in people is what feeds our passion and our inspiration. Curious, how does that work? I want to do that. I want that. And that's what it gives us a purpose, doesn't it? Being creative, it starts with initially the act of being creative, and then you get well. So AU Autistic, I've got my own man's mental health courses that I've wrote all about my life, because mental health hasn't got no, male, female, non-binary. It's got nothing. It is what it is. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, how much money you've got, where you're from. It comes for you, it comes for you. And I think it doesn't matter that I identify as a woman, it doesn't matter that I'm a woman with this situation, it'll help anyone. Because if I could overcome this, and this is how I've done it. I mean, I'm a product of success, because I'm still alive. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I say that lightly, like I'm still alive, and I'm actually at a place where I like my life and I love my life. Things still hit the floor. Like I've had, I don't know if I mentioned, I've had like I lost someone to suicide last year. Like, you know, things hit the floor for me, yeah. But I'm still here. I'm a product, and that's a case of me learning, growing, being creative, all the tools that I've got being activated at these times. So I'm not saying like I'm healed, it's fine. I still go through it massively.
But one of the healthy things that you're doing, and you're showing us by being grateful for, you know, and
the bad as well.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like sometimes it's a mindset. It's like, why is this happening to me? It's a bit powerless. What is this teaching me? What am I gonna? What is this gonna make me run with? So, are you autistic? That's me. You know, privately going into schools. I work with a lot of youth centres. If anyone wants to work with me, I'd absolutely love that. Just get in touch with me. It's a.ur.tistic on Instagram. So, but from that, a new CIC, it's very early. I've just finished my business plan. It's called Dopamine Rooms. This is about collaboration for me. This is about me realising I can't do everything, even though I want to. And about me recognising there's so many other amazing practitioners out there. But one thing I do through Are You Artistic too is advocate for neurodiversity in terms of making environments neurodiverse. As a teacher, I used to teach so many different lessons in the class. I'm a qualified teacher. I'd be working as a lecturer, and I'd be teaching like 6 lessons because they'd need this, they'd need this, they'd need this. And I thought, imagine if there was like, you know, a way we could kind of implement little tools in all curriculum to make sure that it's neurodiverse. So I go into schools now and I'll give talks and Q&A sessions on how to do this with just generalised techniques that I've got that will help everyone learn, because I struggle to learn in a neurotypical way, a black and white, like, you know, I can't learn. Even now, I've got a director in my company and she'll just type away listening to our, you know, meetings. I'm drawing octopuses. I've got the laptop upside down. But it's the only way I can learn and take it in. I can't do it. But it's accepting that and giving me them tools to do that, and doing that with children as well. So that's another area of it. So I think with Dopamine Rooms, it's about working with loads of different other people if anyone wants to collaborate. But me then sprinkling the AU artistic model that already works on top of that. So like you could be the most amazing yoga teacher, but I can go, I'll do it like this a little bit as well. Then it'll be a bit neurodiverse. And I want that to be embedded into Dopamine Rooms and them to come and work and to deliver stuff when eventually I haven't got a building yet. Anyone wants to give me one. I've got a space on a Thursday now. That's very soon they're going to be getting set up. But that's a way I can get funding as well. Hopefully, if anyone knows any funding, come to me.
So if you look ahead, say, you know, I don't know, 12 months down the line with that, where would you like to be?
If I haven't got my own building, I'd love my own building, because I've got a whole vision for what that's going to look like, and it's going to be unreal. So I know that's coming. It's in the post, whether it's a year or two, it's coming. But for this year, it's about getting as much funding as I can as a new CIC. I've got a space on a Thursday that I can use in Liverpool, and obviously collaborating with yourself and different projects that we can work on under the Dopamine Rooms branch to get funding for that, to prove that I'm a really reliable person that can. I do that anyway through all the research and stuff through Dopamine Rooms, as I've taught this all over Liverpool, and I don't want to name loads of names, but I've got loads of people. Like the police have sponsored that. There's been loads of the housing associations have sponsored that and given me funding for that in the past. So it's about looking at that and that research and using that with the CIC as well to get more funding, then to include other people in that and to push that, like yourselves, and to collaborate and to, just to expand. Like there's so much for everyone to do. I'm an artist, right? And I want to be painting and messing around and teaching a man's mental health course that day and, doing a messy play that day. So Dopamine Rooms is not going to run on its own. It's not. I need the best of the best, and I'm very fussy, practitioners, and to run certain workshops, but knowing that my models work, just tweaking them and adding them so that everyone can learn and win, and hopefully it'll just grow. So I think for the end of this year, just to have set things set on and set days. I've got a Thursday for the year now sorted. I don't know what's running, but I've got the base secure. And as just to get as much funding in, and then to be looking for a building, I think and to be collaborating with as many people as we can in any capacity, and just branching out if I can help out in any way as well. And I've got loads of resources. It's literally a collaborative space, a creative collaborative home, I want to call it, for us all to come together and to just use our tool. I'm an artist. I want to run with that. Someone else might be a Kundalini expert. Run with that. I'm not going to pretend I'm a Kundalini expert because I'm not. If I'm interested and passionate enough to do these things, like I've got my level 3 meditation. I was obsessed with Abraham Hicks with all these monasteries and stuff like that. So I went and done it myself, you know, because I love that. But mine's all visualization based. So imagine this and think about what this looks like and visualize this, because that's how I see that. But other people use it in a different way. So it's all done in our own unique way. And I want, you know, all different types of teachers and stuff to come, and mathematicians. I've got someone who's interested in languages, and just to come together and to be able to enhance the dopamine in a healthy way. We're all addicted
teamwork,
to stuff.
isn't it?
Well, but there's enough for everyone.
And also, I think that one of the things that when you're talking about things like this is that I found that everybody can have different ways of receiving and connecting, right? So if you've got, if you're doing artist side of it and that side of it, and then someone can receive that way and they can relate to that, and then someone else, maybe they need some music or they need some talking, meditation. So I think I'm with you totally, and I
learn differently, don't we? And that's what obviously we get taught as a teacher the basic learning skills, and you know, kinesthetic and pragmatic, it's pragmatic, theorist, all these learning styles and stuff that we get. But there's another one. There's a neurodiverse one that we're not matching. And this one is about, for me, I can only talk for me with neurodiversity. I don't want to put that on every neurodiverse person, because that's where we get it wrong as well. Of course. I need my dopamine to be raised in a healthy way. I can almost feel when someone asks me to do a task that's got no dopamine in, my brain just goes, pay a bill. Like that Runcorn bridge kills me off because it never gets paid.
Like a mental block.
Well,
but do you have, you know, when it comes to things like, for example, I don't know, it could be a form or it could be
gone.
Is it like almost that it's like there's something that just stops you doing it? So
I can't remember the actual scientific terms. I was listening to a podcast on it recently, and when I'm meant to concentrate, it deflates. The part of my brain that meant to concentrate deflates. When I'm meant to sleep, it inflates, comes alive. It's like the opposite. So the only way to get me to learn is to spike the inflation. The only way to spike the inflation is through dopamine, hence dopamine rooms. But I'm fascinated by dopamine because every time we're addicted to a substance, it's because the reward system in the brain is acting on dopamine, whether it's drugs or like, you know, gambling or all the negative things that can be associated with dopamine too. It's about noticing that, and I believe that, you know, things can get improved in them ways when we recognise healthy dopamine releases, negative healthy dopamine releases. The only difference is with a lot of the negative ones, they spike really fast. It drops really fast as well. But some of the healthy ones, it might only go, but it doesn't drop.
It's very useful to.
It doesn't drop though. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very useful to go to if you're trying to start good habits, like to give yourself rewards, isn't it? You know, to spike, give you that dopamine boost almost.
But it's recognising to be with the process. So if you're, you know, I'm talking to, you know, some of my closest loved ones are battling addiction, and that's why I'm not saying I can speak on behalf of it. I've had my own battles in my own different ways, more alcoholism. I wouldn't say, as far as addiction, I'd say a problem. It was a problem. But it's about recognising that these little healthy dopamine things aren't going to give you that straight away. The way, you know, a bender will, or, you know, the gambling or your money will. It's not going to do that. But what it's going to do is it's not going to go boom. So it's going to go and it's going to stay there. And the next time it's going to go and stay there. That slowly. But you keep doing it. You don't need this. Just got to keep exercising this part. Keep doing it. Do you get what I mean?
100%. You've got to put the work in with it.
The brain goes, ooh, all this dopamine, don't need no more. So the little bit that I've got, it goes, I'm not going to make no more of that. So it gives me even less. So I've become addicted to this thing because I've got the little bit I've got gone, so I've become solely reliant on it. So if that little bit that I've got gone, it's not going to reach that high next time, so I need even more to make it a bigger higher, to make it even more high. And even education, how powerful is that? Just to know when you're addicted to something, even love, like that's what's happening. But just if you can exercise, move your body, learn a new skill every day, whether it's octopuses have got 3 hearts or, you know, you've got 8 brains, I kind of learn little things like that. It's little tiny dopamine spikes, little tiny 20 minutes, 20 seconds looking at the birds. Oh, it's boring. No, it's little tiny dopamine spikes, but it's going to make our brain grow.
100%.
And I teach, I'm an advocate for having an educational longer practice. All these practices that are out there now are unbelievable, but I provide educational sides of it, like I've just done, about dopamine, about the mind, about intrusive thoughts, how to do it, why we're doing it, fear, all this. Start alongside in the pot. That's what saved my life. I have to go to the gym 3 times a week, twice. I have to learn something, I have to be creative, I have to read something, I have to, you know, find some stillness. I have to connect. I have to connect, find connection. That could be anything, you know. That could be like me watching a film, but not just watching the film, thinking about how the film's made. You know, wow, that special effect would have been amazing. It's me being a bit more mindful of what's going on, even in my body. How am I feeling? Where is it? It's just finding a bit of connection in your day, and it's not hard. Like this, I've got loads of work to do, and I've got to meditate for 100 hours a day, and I've got to exercise every day of my life. It's not doable, is it? But if you just say 10 minutes, we've got to do something. 10 minutes, that's it. Even less, 5 if you can't do 10. 2 if you can't do it. Some trainer that's helping me mentally, with food and stuff recently. I haven't binged that for 9 weeks. Doing really well. He said to me, do 2 sit-ups a night. And I went 2. I won't even do nothing. I even do 2 sit-ups a night. Because it's 2 sit-ups that you never done. I guarantee you'll start doing 3. I guarantee you'll start doing 4. You do 1 sit-up a night, just 1. 1. And I was like, oh, you do 1. You do 1 and you do 2 and you do 3. Just do 1.
It's training, isn't it?
Do 1 minute.
Like you said at the beginning, our brains are so computer-like and like training. Starting to train it, unlearning, like you said as well. You know, all these things, you know, massive proponent of these, 100%.
I think with dopamine rooms, having these programs back to back, little accountability groups, little things back to back, I think, you know, massively, well, I know will massively improve mental health. And the biggest advocate for that, never mind all the research I've got from all the places I've worked and all the people I've been on my courses, is me. With all the things in my life that should have knocked me over and should have been the end, it's not. Why? I'm not from the area I grew up in. I don't knock it. I love where I'm from. I love the people. I love everything. But statistically, I'm meant to be in prison now. Like, I am meant to be in prison. My brother's meant to be in prison, but he's not. He's not. But why? And I think it's statistically, it's the little tiny things I'm doing. Tiny. I mean, I don't put no pressure on myself because that causes stress, doesn't it?
It is the tiny things that matter, isn't it? And I think that's what I try and get across as well, and what I think people will get across from this is that it's the tiny little things that add up that can really change your life.
100%.
If somebody wants to get in touch, I want to put, obviously we've got your Instagram link. If you could send me any kind of links and things, then we can put them on the chat, on the video and stuff, But
Instagram's your main source. At the minute, I'm proper ADHD. My website, I've been trading for like 3 years. It's half done. But it is in the process of getting done. We have got an exciting music video coming out soon. I'd love everyone to share that. It's all about autism. It's so fun. I'm not a rapper at all. So it's hilarious.
You'll have to give me a link. I'm happy. I'll share it on all.
It's dead fun. I'd love people because I think kids can get involved in it, and loads of people can learn so much other than the lyrics. But the way it's done to like an Eminem song. But it's all, the music's been changed so it's mine and the words, but you can tell it is like you can tell. And he's autistic and he's amazing. Like I'm much of a genius for his lyrics and the way he can creatively express himself. And it's really fun. So I think that's sort of exciting that's coming out soon. But yeah, it's been amazing. It's really
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming in and being so honest.
It heals.
It
saves people's lives, doesn't it?
And I can't wait to do some work, some collaboration, and maybe do a catch up in a couple, like a year or so. We're down here. And
100%. There's so much more I could divulge in, and I think it's important to recognise how far you've come as well, isn't it? To say but I think we should end on, for me, to say like, it doesn't matter what's happened to you, what's happening to you, or what's going on. Like, it doesn't define you, and there will be a way forward, and there's a way out. And nothing lasts, does it?
No.
It always changes. No feeling ever lasts.
No.
Ever.
Phases, isn't it?
And it will get better. And I am living proof that I can do it. Like, the odds against me in every capacity, neurodiversity, like poverty area, you know, my dad being ill, just being so many things. If I can do it, anyone can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, everybody. Anything you want to get in touch about, please do so.
I'd love to work with anyone, so message me.
You can message, email, anywhere you want to. Thank you so much. Look after yourselves. And
can I also randomly say, I work with every age group as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Every age group, right the way through from babies to 80-odd-year-olds. There's no age group that we don't work with. So awesome. So that's, if anyone wants to work with me, schools, institutions, I do a lot in schools. Get in touch.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You take care of yourselves. Happy Monday.
Thank you. Bye.